The Atlantis arrives at Wellington under charter to the New Zealand government.
In the first half of the 20th century, we saw 150,000 English immigrants arrive on our shores, and all of them were really keen to escape from rationed and dour wartime England.
Every one of them is going to make a real good New Zealander and is going to be happy and prosperous in our land.
And then, in the second half of the century, the 50s, 60s and 70s, another 200,000 of them arrived here, a lot of them on assisted passage.
She has 900 people aboard. 750 of them are government-assisted immigrants, and the remainder are sponsored by the government.
Well, in the years after the Second World War, there was a real fear that if our population didn't grow fast enough, we would be attacked by the Japanese. So they did two things. They introduced family benefit in New Zealand to get the Kiwis to have more kids, and then they went off to England and they started to recruit people, particularly from England because they were reliable, not so much actually from Scotland and certainly not from Ireland, to get some more Anglo-Saxon blood.
It looks good, any way you look at it. It's clean and fresh because it's young.
It's so clean and beautiful, and it's really Kiwi. England just, you know, it was a seaside town with ladies walking with parasols, but that's because of the Coke cans and the dog poo. You know, no one wanted to go and sit on the beach. And if you did swim in it, God help you, you'd be sick for a week and a half.
All round, it's pretty good.
Thus began the era of the £10 POM, an immigrant assistance scheme that targeted English skilled labour.
We were very, very affluent, and they came in their droves.
However, in the 70s, as unemployment began to rise, often they found themselves the unwitting target of national frustration. Gee, those bloody pommy bastards, they come here, take all our bloody jobs, eh?
I grew up on the North Shore of Auckland, and East Coast Bays was just Pomville. I mean, it was full of Poms. It still is, actually. Very nice people, too.
So it really was a way of sort of almost like a Freudian attack on Mother England.
But our latest assault on the home counties has created a different type of settler. Every year, thousands of young New Zealanders brave over 20 hours on a plane to relive the cramped, overcrowded conditions their ancestors left behind.
Ended up living in a flat, 3-bedroom, about 12 of us. In Kensington, great area, but, you know, worst house on the street. At the moment, you know, most people under 30 are in London.
It's like the colonists are recolonising in a way.
Yeah. I mean, you know, London, a lot of it's ticking with New Zealanders, Australians. All the pubs are run by them, building sites, every house is being built by Kiwis.
So if they all vanished at once, what would happen to London?
I know, it would stop. That's, yeah, completely.
I think we do always feel that we need to prove ourselves and we need to go that bit further, because people will say, oh my God, they're from New Zealand. You know, what are they going to do, arrive in their jandals and shorts? And so we do have to really try to be considered to be on a level playing field.
When I started in the theatre, Shakespeare was and still is the height of our theatrical aspirations. But a lot of the older actors used to say to me, Michael, the best Shakespeare has to somehow be English, has to have an English voice. And it wasn't just Shakespeare. Even in the 70s, our Kiwi soap close to home was awash with English accents.
Exactly $638.50. What are we going to do with it?
Well, we'll start with a couple of pints.
Our newsreaders, too, spoke more Windsor than Wellington.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
We don't do that anymore. We've made Shakespeare, like a lot of other English things, our own. And like our newsreaders and presenters, we don't have to use an English accent anymore. We can do Shakespeare in our own voice. E tamariki tonu, koia ka takoto ya kiau ngoai ngā tito. He! So we have our own accents, our own history and identity, and most of us have little identification with England at all. But like the Union Jack on our flag, there are some English things we find hard to let go. One thing that stands out is this. Morris dancing is one of the few originally English things that we still have. And ironically, for a country hell-bent on preserving an idealised rural Englishness, this tradition has its roots in Merry England.
What's Morris dancing all about then?
Sex.
It's pagan ritual.
This pagan ritual, yeah, derived from fertility dances done by the pagans pre-Christian times, when they had to go out and dance around to awaken Mother Earth and drive away the evil spirits.
You think this is a valuable, a valid part of our past?
This is the haka for the lost Pakeha.
So does this mean that some New Zealand-born Kiwis think of themselves as British? Well, to do so now would seem ridiculous, eh? But this new assurance shouldn't mean a denigration of our English past, a bit like a teenager not wanting to be seen with Dad in his stubbies. No, our confidence as Kiwis should mean we can celebrate our English history, the hopes and the dreams and aspirations of a people who were willing to set sail beyond the new horizons, like the early settlers did.
For a long time, the assumption in New Zealand was that the people who came to New Zealand were the best of the English because they were the ones who could brave the journey, who, you know, had this particular vision of making a good life. We got the best of the English, and so our genetic stock is actually superior English.
So I was born in England, but I'm not English. I'm a Kiwi, and I'm proud of that, and I celebrate that difference wherever I go. And like me, great parts of our culture came from England, but they're no longer English, they're Kiwi. And we should be celebrating that, and we should be proud of it. Ka pai.
New Zealanders, we're all from somewhere else.
Those chinky eyes.
Yes, they're slanty.
You can't grow a beard, man. In this great Kiwi cultural casserole, where do we fit in?
Director Bernadine Lim discovers there's more to her past
Can't drive trolleys.
than dragon boats and dim sum.
Never really fitted in because we weren't obsessed with chasing a pea platter around the muddy field in winter.
Revealing a side of New Zealand few know.
The Chinese were the only migrants to be taxed because of their skin colour.
And we New Zealanders